What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today did not go according to plan. This wasn't supposed to be a voiceover because I had entirely different ambitions and ideas for this video, but it did not turn out that way because I encountered a big ol' fat, steaming pile of mess. I encountered a pretty big fountain pen issue that I had to problem solve with you on the fly because when I hit that record button, I keep going. Unless I sneeze, and then I will stop it and cut that out. But I had fully intended this video to be a learn how to flex right, but it did not at all turn into that. So enjoy my trying to figure this out with you, and yeah, bye. All right, I've never tried this ink before. I have used this pen before, but I'm still not like intimately familiar with it, other than the fact that it is simply gorgeous. My desk is a hot mess right now as I begin to prep all of the pens that have been purchased over the last week to go to their forever homes. So I've got all the products out, the addresses, the customs forms, everything. So I basically have no room left on my desk, but that's okay. By the way, for anyone who wasn't a paid member of the Patreon family, the rest of the sale will go live for you guys tomorrow. So whatever is left will be marked in the description down below. So let's go ahead and try this out. So this is the egg. Let's see if it can focus here. 6 hundo with the flex nib. And I've never used this ink by, is it Dominant, I think, Industry. Why this is technically called Earl Grey is beyond me, because it's obviously not gray, and the actual tea itself, this does not resemble it whatsoever. It is just straight up orange. But I wanted to put it in this pen because this pen is so crazy wet. Like, even the very first thing I wrote is still wet. So that way it would give it its best chance to be like the most, what's the word I'm looking for? I haven't had coffee yet. Can you tell? Concentrated. Like, that's, I don't know. The darkest color is basically, I'm forgetting the word. This pen is great. You can, if you write like really, really light, so I'm putting down like no pressure whatsoever. Like if I even just write under its own weight, it's nuts. It is so smooth. In fact, it's really hard to like not put any pressure down at all. But of course, once you do, you can really flex it like nothing I've ever seen before. And while there are some pens that you can get, you know, this level of line variation out of, you don't understand how like zero pressure this requires. Like zero pressure comparatively to like the steel nibs that you'll do. And like your fingers will hurt. This is like butter. This is what I imagine like true vintage pens are like. And I want to try and be able to pick up a vintage flex to try it next to this, because this is the Mag 600s. Like this is Magna Carta's true flex nib. Okay, apparently it will. Okay. Well, we're seeing that together for the first time because that's never happened to me before. But maybe. No, it's I was like, I just filled it, so there shouldn't be an air bubble. I've never actually had it where it's just stopped. But again, I've never used this ink before, so I'm not super familiar with how the ink is supposed to perform and whether it's already. Let me see if I can get it to zoom on the nib here. Come on. I love the heart. Whether it's already gumming up the tines here, but it doesn't look like it. There is ink in the feed, so it's just not making it down the actual like slits here. All right, I might have to prime it a little bit. Interesting. Well, this is why I make these videos. Now it's not focusing on the pen itself. Well, it's focusing on the paper. All right, let me push down some ink. I'll get it to drip out. This is the Rhodia dot pad, by the way. I used the Rhodia notebook and was like super, super disappointed, and I didn't like it at all. And everyone was saying that the Rhodia dot pad was much better. So I busted an old one out that I've had that I forgot that I even had. And yes, it is much better than the notebook. This is obviously the lined version, but the paper would be the same. All right, interesting. Let's see if I flex it out a bunch, use up the ink that was in that feed from the flooding I just did. Let's see if it'll do it again. Because what I wanted to do was that around the True Flex. I really don't think that's a pen problem. I think that's more of an ink problem. Because this is so wet, I think if you have an ink that is a super, super wet writing ink, it might have a problem with it because it doesn't have enough. Oh, just did it again. Yep, now I'm out. Yeah, I'm out completely. It doesn't have enough tension, I think, in the ink to be able to, for the nib to grab it, or the tines rather to grab it, because it is so wet. Interesting. Well then, so what would I do in this case then for those who, you know, have maybe encountered this for the first time? Either you could continue to like push down the ink from, like literally just push out the ink from the converter down the feed so that you are fully primed and you can do all that goodness again. Or honestly, I would just clean it out and put a different ink in it because obviously there's just not enough tension. This ink is clearly a little too wet maybe for a pen like this. But this is the reality. This is what happens when problems arrive with fountain pens, and you just have to roll with it. I initially was going to do a complete test and learn through. Yeah, see now it's running out again. Learn through of how to do some flex with you guys, but I'm gonna actually change this video and probably title it something like "When Problems Arise." Problem solving with trouble with problematic pen issues or something. Because like I said, I don't think this is a pen problem. I think this is an ink problem. So I'm going to clean it out and put a different ink into it and try my original concept a little bit later because this pen is glorious. I had Diamine Ancient Copper in here before, and I never once had any issues. I went through the entire converter, like flexing it out like this, no problem, and it was perfectly fine. So I think it's an ink. Like I said at the top of the video, I've never used it before. So the unknown. So this is a completely random on the spot video that wasn't really planned, but is what it is. So if you like it, let me know. We'll try and do more videos like this, where I solve some problems on the fly. um, if you haven't yet checked out the fountain pen sale and you are a Patreon member, today is your last day to do so before it goes public. You can still purchase anything like tomorrow on, but the amount of people potentially looking at what's left will also be there because tomorrow on Saturday it will go live for everyone. So stay tuned for that. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you've ever encountered something like this, and was it the pen or was it the ink for you? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, check the link for my Patreon if you want to help support me in this channel, or just hit the super thanks for a one-time support. But as always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.